Sarah's created an amazing stained glass window for the shipping container house. I believe I'm the first person ever to install a stained glass window in a shipping container. In the evening, the kangaroos get this fabulous view. Sarah went to a class where she learned to make a stained glass window. The dimensions were chosen to fit neatly on the side of the container. After it was brought home, it was my turn to build a frame and install it. I had some steel box section cut to slightly larger than the dimensions of the window. I used welder's magnets just to hold the frame in place. My measurements are within tolerance, so I can tack the corners. I tack the frame around the window. This guarantees that the window fits neatly in the hole and there's no errors. I used a piece of wooden board to prevent any damage to the window. After it was tacked, I then welded up the corners properly. I rubbed them down with the angle grinder. I then sprayed the corners with a coat of cold gal paint. I need to design something that will hold the glass pane inside the frame. I think right angle channel will do the trick nicely. I found some right angle aluminium channel in a skip. I cut it to length and then I drilled holes and riveted the channel in place. So here's one side of the channel in place. I think the glass should sit neatly on this frame. The glass is too expensive and delicate for careless handling. I cut some villa board, which is a similar thickness to the glass panel, and this will act as a simulated window. This will let me finish making the frame up. I cut 4 lengths of packing to go on the inside of the frame. Sarah wanted a wooden frame on the inside of the window. So I cut 4 lengths of architrave on the miter saw. I then drilled a 4.5mm hole and used a 5mm tap to take some screws. The screws fit nicely. After I'd finished all of the screws, here's the finished product. This is where we want the window to go. It'll throw a little bit more natural light. I removed the plywood panel from the wall. I held the frame in place using a piece of wood and some welder's magnets. Then I used a permanent marker to draw a line round the outside. I drilled holes in the 4 corners. Then I used a straight edge to mark the cut lines for the exterior. I used a thin cutting blade on the angle grinder to cut the window. It's very satisfying cutting the panels out. Installing the window is covered in full detail in part 2 of the ebook How to Build an Off-Grid Shipping Container House. I clean the edges with an angle grinder. It's a perfect fit. I used a flapper disc to clean the paint off the areas that I'll weld to the frame. Then I aligned the frame and held it with welder's magnets. I tacked and then stitch welded the frame into place. Here's a stitch weld. Then I sprayed the edges with primer. I put a bead of silicone all around the frame to seal the gap. I then framed and insulated the interior wall. I bought some linseed oil putty and a putty knife, and then I set about putting the putty on the inside of the frame. I did a terrible job with the putty, so Sarah redid it and it looked much better. So here's the window installed from the outside. I tidied up the paint around the perimeter. There are 75 individually crafted pieces of glass making up the window. The morning sun casts a beautiful variety of light on the inside of the container, and it's increased our natural daylight. And this is our daytime view. It's tremendous. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next instalment of the adventure. Press subscribe to follow more of our adventures, and please press the like button if you enjoyed this video. It helps the channel. For more information about the ebooks, please visit my website at buildshippingcontainerhouse.com.